The Galactic Council had deemed humans too fragile for frontier worlds. Too soft, they said. Too emotional. Too prone to breaking under the weight of isolation and hardship. Nia had proven them wrong 1,000 times over. She stood in the communal den of Settlement Theta 9, stirring a massive pot of stew over the heat core. The Vorkan cubs, 7 of them, ranging from knee-high to shoulder height, watched her with gleaming amber eyes. Their fur rippled in shades of silver and slate, ears twitching at every sound she made. "Almost ready," Nia said, her voice carrying the warmth that had become her trademark among the Vorkan clans. She dipped the ladle into the thick broth, blowing on it before taking a cautious sip. The heat seared her tongue instantly. "Ah, damn." She pulled back, eyes watering, pressing her cool fingers to her lips. The reaction was immediate. All 7 cubs began to howl, not in mockery but in genuine distress. The sound rose through the den, a chorus of worried whines and high-pitched keening that would have summoned every adult Vorkan within a kilometer radius if they weren't already out on the hunting patrol. No, I'm okay." Nia laughed through the pain, waving her hands. "It's just hot, little ones. I'm fine." But the cubs didn't understand her words, not fully. They understood tone, body language, the subtle chemical signals that humans gave off, and right now, despite her reassurances, they smelled her pain. The smallest cub, barely the size of a large dog, rushed forward and pressed her fuzzy head against Nia's leg, whimpering. Nia's heart clenched. She knelt down, forcing her expression into a smile despite her stinging tongue. "See? All better." The cubs quieted, but they didn't move away. They surrounded her, their concern palpable. This was what the Council had never understood. Humans weren't weak because they felt pain. They were strong because they smiled through it, for others. Kor returned to the den as the suns were setting, his massive frame filling the doorway. The Vorkan warrior stood nearly 3 meters tall, his battle-scarred hide covered in the traditional armor of his people. He carried the carcass of a ridge beast over one shoulder, enough meat to feed the settlement for days. His eyes found Nia immediately, as they always did. She was sitting cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by cubs who were now eating contentedly from their bowls. She'd portioned out the stew with careful precision, making sure each cub got their fair share plus extra for the growing ones. Her own bowl sat beside her, half full and cooling. The human mother feeds her children before herself. Kor rumbled, his voice like distant thunder. "This is the way of your people?" Nia looked up and smiled. "This is the way of any mother, Kor. Species doesn't matter." He set down the carcass and approached, his movements deliberate despite his size. The cubs chirped greetings but didn't leave Nia's side. Kor lowered himself to the floor across from her, an unusual gesture. Vorkan warriors rarely sat in the presence of others. It was a position of vulnerability. "You burned yourself today," he said. It wasn't a question. "The cubs told me." Nia blinked. "They told you?" "Their distress signals reached me even at the ridgeline. I almost abandoned the hunt." His amber eyes studied her. "You smiled through pain to calm them." "It was just a burned tongue, Kor, nothing serious." "No." He leaned forward, his voice dropping to something almost reverent. "It is everything." Nia set down her spoon, giving him her full attention. "When the Council rejected human colonists for the frontier worlds, they said your kind could not survive hardship. They pointed to your soft skin, your need for precise temperatures, your emotional fragility." Kor gestured to the cubs around her. "But they did not understand what I have learned watching you these seasons." "And what's that?" "Humans do not survive despite your softness. You survive because of it." He reached out slowly, carefully, and touched her hand with one clawed finger. "You feel everything more deeply than we do. Pain, fear, loneliness. These things would drive most species to madness on worlds like this. But you feel something else just as deeply." "Love," Nia whispered. "Purpose," Kor corrected. "You burned your tongue, and your first thought was not your own pain but their fear. You smile through suffering because others need your smile. You endure because others need you to endure." The smallest cub climbed into Nia's lap, and she wrapped her arms around the warm, furry body automatically. "My people respect strength," Kor continued. "We value warriors who can withstand any wound, any hardship. But we never understood that strength has many forms. When Vorkan warriors are injured, we roar, we rage. We show our pain to prove we can master it. And humans? Humans hide their pain behind smiles. Not because you are weak, but because you are strong enough to bear it alone so others don't have to. He stood slowly, his full height towering over her. The council was wrong. Humans are not too fragile for frontier worlds. You are the only species strong enough for them. Nia felt tears prickling at her eyes, not from sadness but from something deeper. Recognition maybe, validation. 3 seasons ago this settlement was failing, Kor said. The supplies were delayed. The winter was harsh. Our cubs were hungry and cold. The clan elders spoke of abandoning this place. I remember, Nia said quietly. You couldn't abandon it. The mineral deposits here are critical to your people's technology. We would have left anyway, because we were afraid our cubs would not survive. He gestured around the warm den at the sleeping cubs now curled against Nia's legs. Then you came, 1 human alone. You rationed food we thought could not be rationed. You found warmth in places we thought held none. You sang to cubs who cried in the dark. I just did what needed to be done. Exactly. Kor's voice held something like wonder. You burned your tongue today testing stew for cubs that are not your species, not your blood, not even your planet. And when they howled in distress, you smiled through pain to give them comfort. He knelt down again, bringing himself to her eye level, a profound gesture of respect among Vorkons. The galaxy will learn what I have learned. Nia, humans do not conquer worlds with weapons or technology. You conquer them with something far more powerful. He touched his chest over his heart. You conquer them with this. The smallest cub yawned, showing tiny fangs, and nestled deeper into Nia's embrace. She stroked the soft fur, feeling the steady heartbeat beneath her fingers. I'm just trying to keep them safe, she said. And that, Kor replied, is exactly why humanity will inherit the stars. Outside, the double suns finally set, casting the frontier world into its long, cold night. But inside the den, warmed by the heat core and something far more powerful, 7 Vorkan cubs slept peacefully in the arms of their human mother. She had burned her tongue testing their stew. They had howled until she smiled. And in that moment, the universe shifted, just a little, toward understanding what it truly meant to be strong.